Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Btz Tho. This is episode 13. You're sitting here with your friendly neighborhood producer, Calypso Beats. We're out here in the park. My guest today is Evan. I'm gonna ask Evan a couple questions about his musical journey and his experiences. Good morning, Evan. How you doing?
Morning. Pretty good.
How's everything going? How you feeling out here in the park with the birds and the trees and everything?
Beautiful, man.
This is awesome, right?
Oh, yeah.
Another thing, if you guys want to get in contact with me, you can also contact me at thebtzo@gmail.com. That's thebtzo@gmail.com. So, Evan, man, I want to ask you, what do you feel that you bring to the table as far as art?
It's a whole number of things. Painting, drawing. I can't really speak too much on the dancing part, but music, definitely.
Right, so music is A1.
Music is A1, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like those other things as far as drawing and painting help you create music?
Oh, most definitely. They go hand in hand.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You see the relationship between the two?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
How long have you actually been making music?
When it comes to music, making music, I'd probably say about 20 plus years.
Okay.
As far as singing and just being around music, that's before I can even remember.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge family dealing with music before my time and you know, to present day.
Do you feel that having such a musically talented family around you helped you in your musical journey?
Most definitely. Pretty much, if you didn't have people around you, you know, like your environment does play a huge part. I can always say that I love music because it was always playing in the background no matter what was going on.
Right.
So it was always in my ear, in the back of my head. But then when it came down to composing or, you know, producing, singing, writing songs, that having family around that did it was definitely a plus for me because they kind of guided me towards the type of music that I deal with.
Right. And can I ask you, what is your background as far as where are you from? Where's your family from?
All right, so pretty much as far as myself, was born and raised in Queens.
Okay.
All right, my father's from Haiti. My mother's from Jamaica.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a wild mix.
Yeah, that's dope. I mean, just those two alone, I can tell you, me myself, growing up in a Caribbean home, because my parents are from Barbados. My whole family is from Barbados, really. I think I'm the only one out of my immediate family that was born here. It really shapes you musically because I remember waking up, you know, on a Saturday morning and my parents would be playing, you know, old reggae and calypso and all these different Caribbean things. Even sometimes they would even play like country music.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So what was the tradition, I guess I'm asking, what was the tradition in your home? How did you end up hearing music or hearing these rhythms growing up?
That's a cool question. All right, so basically there's 7 of us, siblings, 7 of us.
You got 7 siblings?
7 of us. Well, I have 6 siblings, but altogether with me included, it's 7 of us.
Right, awesome.
I'm the second to last. So my mother, she would be playing her oldies, more like, what's this guy's name? Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons, I think that is.
Wow.
And, you know, that type of music. And my father, he always tried to keep us into our religion, so he'd be playing family radio and I'd hear a little gospel here and there.
Right.
But then now, as I travel through the house, you know, I got my brothers who they're playing, you know, Rakim and Eric B, you know, and they're bumping. And then I got, you know, my older sisters, they're playing, you know, 80s pop. A-E-I-O-U.
Right.
You know, they're playing those type of songs and I'm hearing that. And then I have my sister that's right above me. And she's, you know, rocking with the Karen White, you know, the R&B side of things, just nice, cool groove music.
Right.
And then me, I kind of, whatever made me feel right at the time, I just rocked with. So I could listen to anything, all genres. And my younger sister, she was into the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's just, you know, I have a wild set a lot of different music that I could, that I was listening to on the come up. And I can say all of that kind of helped to mold me into who I am now.
Awesome. That's nice. What kind of music did you start out making when you first started composing or producing music?
It was definitely rap.
Definitely.
Hardcore rap, oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was, on my come up. So coming through the 80s and watching, people out on the street, how they moved and how they did their thing, the break dancing.
Right.
Yeah, I was into it, I was into the early hip hop, and that's where I was, once NWA started doing their thing, and I was hearing those lyrics, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Right.
These guys are cursing, saying some crazy stuff.
Because that's not anything you used to, because you was in a religious household.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh man, that was like kryptonite.
You know what? I think it was, it was kind of more like the thing that gave me power, because, and it's crazy, I mean, and it's wrong, but it was just so crazy, like it just blew my mind, like, oh, these guys are saying some crazy stuff. Right. And you watch how people, some people go to church and then they do their thing inside church, and then you look at the streets, and I had, I made a crazy decision in my younger years, and I kind of chose the streets. So it was hardcore rap that set me off.
Wow. Okay. So when you initially started doing music, were you like into, I don't know if computers and stuff were in that time area, because I'm like, I'm in my 30s, right? Mm-hmm. So like when people started making beats and everything, from what I remember is that there were drum machines and keyboard synthesizers and all that. Yes. But then computers came into play, downloading and getting programs. So what did you actually start out on?
I don't remember the name of the keyboard, but it was a keyboard. My uncle Mozart had.
Your uncle's name is Mozart?
Yes.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
I have an uncle named Mozart.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's definitely, you definitely got to do music now. Like it's in your veins.
Yes, most definitely.
So your uncle Mozart?
Yeah. So he had a keyboard that you could pretty much record all of the sounds, and he'd have different sounds on it, and that's what got me saying, I want to make beats.
Wow.
I love this. I want to make beats. You can press the button, it starts recording, you hit the keys, you got a little metronome playing, and you once you're done recording, you play it back and you hear that stuff, and then you can play the piano right behind it. Right. It blew my mind.
Wow.
My mind was blown. I was in.
And then after that, what did you actually start picking up on? As far, because as time went on, digitally things became a little bit more advanced.
Yeah. Well, all right. So on my block, I have a dude named Fernando. I call him my block brother. Mm-hmm. Fernando, he had the turntables, the 1 and 2s, and his nephew, which is my best friend Simeon. I would go over there to check Simeon. And I mean, we were young dudes, man. I tell you, we were young, and this dude knew how to hook that thing up. All the wires that was just, coiled up and put aside. Right. This dude is unwrapping everything and putting everything together. And before you know it, he was spinning some records, Wow. And he's spinning records, and he passed me the microphone. And at that point, I was like, I could really do this MC thing.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm rapping on the microphone, and he'd throw a tape in. You have to put a little bit of tape over the top of the tape.
You have to record it, yeah.
So throw pop in the tape, and this dude will start recording, and he's spinning records, and I got the microphone, and we're just going, man. I'm throwing down whatever lyrics I know, and he's just spinning, going from record to record, and it was just beautiful, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the next thing that kind of yanked me in. I was all in with music, man.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What were your influences besides your family? Because you have a heavily talented, musically talented family.
Oh, most definitely.
Right? But outside of your family, what were your influences? Or who were your influences?
Outside of the family, would you say like artist that's already out type of
anything,
thing?
Anybody. No limits.
All right. So you know what? I spent some time in Ohio with some cousins, and they had a classical tape. And believe it or not, I think it was Beethoven. But I was listening to a lot of classical music, and I didn't know what it was at first, but when I started to listen to it, just pianos playing, and I'm like, wow. And I'm imagining the person's fingers on the keys,
Right.
hitting those keys, and I'm like, that's awesome, man. This dude is just striking them keys,
Right.
and, in syncopation, and it's just beautiful.
Right.
But all right, so classical music influenced me because I wanted to play the piano at that point, and I wanted to know about keys and, how to read music and so forth.
Right.
So I would say all of those old composers, Beethoven, Chopin, all of those dudes, man.
Yeah.
Those dudes definitely influenced me. And then coming into present time, one dude that stands out the most is Busta Rhymes, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this dude, I was listening to him from, when he was rapping on the Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
Well, leaders of the new school.
Yeah.
Most Def, but it was the Tribe Called Quest, or the Scenario joint, that really drew me to Busta. And he was just,
The animation.
yeah,
Yeah.
dynamic with his stuff. And from there on, like, he's always just been one of my favorite artists, period.
Right.
But, as you start to go through a few different artists, I would say Nas,
Right.
huge part of it. Redman,
Okay.
yeah, Redman is my dude. And Jay-Z, again, like, my best friend, man, Simeon. This dude used to always come through and be like, yo, check this out. He would
Put you on.
put me on to some artists that I normally wouldn't really listen to.
Right.
And then I'd be like, oh, that's dope. Oh, man. Then I'd put him on. He wasn't really into Nas. He was a Jay-Z fan.
Right.
I'm the Nas fan, and he's throwing Jay-Z at me. I'm throwing Nas at him, and we both left mutually, happy about.
Fulfilled, like,
yeah,
oh,
like,
snap.
wow, dudes is off the chain, And Wu-Tang Clan, like, all those dudes.
What about
were huge.
as far as like producers, like who do you feel influences your own style or your own take of when you're creating music?
That's a good question. Believe it or not, that's that leads to family again. But if we're talking about out of family, I would say, Timbaland. That dude doing things with Aaliyah and Missy Elliott. Oh my gosh. Like, those beats blew my mind, man.
Right.
1 in a Million. It was around those days that it started really catching me, like the new electric behind beats.
Oh, like the synthesizer age?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those kind of took me, man. And now, of present, I'm actually listening to a lot of EDM.
Oh, okay.
The Calvin Harris's, the Skrillex's, and
Right.
These dudes take it to a whole nother level.
Right.
And
These are, I would consider EDM composers, producers, Skrillex and all them, Deadmau5 and all that.
Yeah.
I would consider them like, I would consider them like the modern day, like Mozart and those type of people.
Yeah, modern day. Yeah.
This is like modern day.
Yeah.
People come out and get dressed up and whatever in their ruffle front.
Yeah.
But this is just different. It's now in a big stadium and everybody's jumping and there's lights and everything like that. What are your thoughts about the climate of music right now as far as hip hop, R&B, EDM?
Well, basically, the reason why I ventured into EDM is because I started getting tired of the rap that's out.
Right.
A lot of it that's out, I can't really relate to it.
Okay. Okay.
So basically, dudes, they're talking about the dope and, the cocoa, and I'm in love, but, and all that type of stuff. And honestly, I was never really into the drug dealing thing. You venture out just as far as street and you try a couple of things, but, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have to do it for survival.
Right.
So when I looked at things and I look at, police could just arrest you, take away your freedom and everything, I said, I'm not gonna do it.
Right.
So up to this day, when you hear those, those type of songs and everything, it doesn't really relate to me. And sometimes the way they rap, the way they rap, it just really didn't take me.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it's whack because obviously it's not. People love it, but it wasn't for me. And and that's pretty much all that was spinning on the radio.
Right.
So by the time I jump in my car and I turn on the radio and that stuff is playing, I'm just switching through stations, just trying to find
something that
you
vibe with you vibe with. Okay.
Yeah. And then, you know, those the EDM, I found the BPM station on a Sirius joint.
Oh, BPM, yeah, I like that station.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And from the first time, like, again, I love to hear a good voice,
right,
you know?
Right.
So you hear some of these ladies singing, and you hear it behind one of these crazy electrical beats. Blew my mind, man. So EDM, just the EDM world just opened up to me when I started switching stations and catching a real nice, beautiful voice on top of those crazy beats.
Crazy beats.
Yeah.
I think when I scroll through Sirius XM and you know, internet radio, and I find all this beautiful music, this exciting music. Damn, you just karate kicked a fly. I never seen nothing like that in real life. Yo, we out here in nature, y'all. We out here in nature.
Oh, man.
When I'm scrolling through those things and I hear like all this music that I would have never ever been exposed to if I was just listening to maybe like FM or AM radio, I'm like, where the heck was all this stuff before? You know, it's like you open up or you find a treasure chest.
Right.
Of all this creativity that's out there. And I think that the awesome thing about the music industry as of right now is that, not saying that anybody can do it, but the possibility is a lot higher. You know, especially if you're a really creative person and you put the rubber to the road, I think anybody can become successful off of their own creativity.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I mean? So I don't think that anybody needs to be stuck at this point in time. I don't think that any producer, any DJ, any rapper, anybody that creates music, composer, needs to be stuck in any box to say, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna be hip hop all day, or I'm just gonna be R&B all day.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Totally agree. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and considering the fact that Deadmau5 could put a mouse head on his, you know what I'm saying? People don't even got to see your face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, straight up.
And you can still walk the streets with your children and not get harassed.
There you go. And I think that's genius.
Right.
You know?
I think that's always dope. There's an artist that I've been following for like years, and he's really popular now, but a lot of people don't know about him. But do you know about this guy, MF Doom?
I don't.
Okay, Doom, I don't want to give you the whole history on it because this is actually an interview. This is all about you. But he wears a mask, you know, and I thought that was genius. I've never ever seen a rapper that wears like a mask besides Ghostface. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I thought that was very clever, and he's not a young guy. He's not like, you know, 20 or 30. He's like probably like in his late 40s, you know,
wow. Okay.
with children and everything, and he's very popular. He does his shows, you know what I mean? However many shows he does a year, people come out and he makes his music, and he survives off of making his music. And I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that we necessarily, especially artists, I don't think that they necessarily have to be all up on the red carpet and, you know, these award shows and embarrassing themselves on Snapchat and Instagram. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because at the same time, you know what? Kids are watching, and you have to make things that, I don't think that you necessarily have to make things for everybody, because not everything is for everybody. You know what I mean? But, you know, if you're gonna put yourself on this big platform, now you really have to watch what you do and what you say and what you put out there into the world. That's because it's your responsibility at the end of the day. You created it, you know? I think it's nice. The climate of music right now is cool. And I think it's dope that you're into EDM. You know what I mean? And you see some sort of value in it because you needed to switch up. For me, when that happened, because I started doing EDM music, I started doing like Afro beats and Zonto and all those type of things. But I was a guy, and I never really liked MPCs, drum machines. It's never ever been a thing like that, because like I always say, I said it in the last interview, I feel like at the time, like in the 90s into like the 2000s, any hip hop producer that had an MPC, it was like, oh, you couldn't touch me. But I think the equalizer was like, once the computer came in, it was like, yo, that means absolutely nothing.
Yes, it changed everything.
Take that big piece of garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Put a cloth over it and put it inside your garage or something, and it's
That's
done.
it.
But the thing is that I feel like you can do whatever you really want to. If you feel like it vibes with you, if you feel that it resonates with you as creatively, then why not do it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's there for you.
Right. That's one of the reasons why I don't really understand why people get mad at rappers that sing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if you got the talent and you got the skill,
Right.
why not utilize it, you know?
Right.
I understand you build up a following and people like to hear a certain type of you, but you know what? If a dude starts singing, don't listen to that side of things. When he puts out something that's hardcore,
Right.
then listen to it. You know, that's just my take. But, you know, to each his own, I pretty much feel like the sky is the limit when it comes to music.
Right.
And just as you said, when you have dudes could be using whatever, computers,
Right.
MPCs, they could have live drums. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's another thing too.
Yeah, they can have anything. I mean, it all depends on your work ethics.
Right.
And mastering things, making it sound the best that you can make it sound.
Right.
And that's how I see it, you know, because, you know, when you look at hip hop, you know, we're like I have to say we. I'm gonna say we.
Okay.
Our lazy bunch, man. Because when you look at the Beatles, for instance, these dudes were mastering their music to every little sound that you hear.
Right.
Us, not so much. You know.
Right.
The hip hop world, not so much, man. They just was throwing things down on a beat.
Right.
And brothers would listen to it, make sure it's in sync.
Right.
And it's being printed.
I think even, when we was talking about EDM, I think as far as when you think about the culture of EDM and all these electrical musics that we have now, I think those were all basically programmers that, you know, synthesizer, people that were going in and saying, I want sound design.
Right.
Hip hop necessarily really wasn't about sound design. I think it was more like, even from back in the days with sampling.
Right.
They was kind of like, I got this box, these 808s sound good. I'm gonna make a whole album with these 808s because they sound dope. And that's how we got like, you know, Run DMC is Tricky and all that. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, don't get me wrong. When it comes to all the older artists,
right?
You know, brothers came up from nothing, and I'm not knocking them,
right?
But when you got dudes that's making a good amount of money,
right,
and they're in a platinum sounding studio,
right,
I feel like they should be putting a lot more time into it. You know? Because, for instance, if I go back and listen to some of my tapes now, it sounds kind of crazy. You know
right.
Whereas if you go back and you listen to the Beatles, it still has a good sound.
Right. It still can hold up to the standards of today.
Correct.
And that's awesome.
That's all I'm pretty much saying.
Right.
I understand. You know, back then, brothers was working with whatever they had.
Well, yeah, anything.
You know?
Tape.
Yeah.
You know, what is it? Karaoke machine.
Yeah.
Little turntable. Your dad turntable. You mess up your dad turntable. You get sad. Whoop.
Yeah. And then I was watching. I cannot remember what show that was, but they was talking about hip hop and how they had riots, and that's where a lot of you know, black folk first got their hands on real equipment.
Yeah, because they could steal it.
Yeah. There was like riot, and they went in and everybody went out, grabbed stuff, and that's when really things started to blow up. And hey, however you got to do it, you do it.
Yeah, I think I heard a lecture with Ninth Wonder talking about that, of how the evolution of hip hop came and out of like from disco, and then the riots, they stole all the stuff from out of the stores, the CD, not even CDs, record players and stereo systems, and all that stuff. I think that's awesome, and that's history.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's the evolution
that's
of history.
That's what made things what it is, and man,
right,
most definitely.
Yeah, I think this was a great conversation talking to you. The last thing that I gotta ask you, I got a couple words, right, that I'm gonna say to you, and you tell me what's the first thing that comes to mind. Okay? Distortion.
Distortion? Sound, you know, things not sounding too right, you know?
Okay. Compressor.
Compressor, okay. Well, compressor can go with anything, pretty much. You know, like you got music that can be compressed.
Okay. All right. Last word, equalization.
Equalization. Now, that's what it's all about. You know, I think music needs to be equalized, you know. Everything needs equalization, you know. Pretty much, you don't want to have one thing overshadowing the other.
Right.
You know, and when it comes to equalization, you know, everybody has their own preferences of what they want to hear more. You want to hear more bass, you want to hear this, you know, but I think that the proper equalization, you know, you get a really good sound.
Really good sound. All right, we're gonna end today, folks, on that note. Really good sound. Evan, thanks for coming here today in the park and doing this interview. I really appreciate it. Out of your busy schedule, a busy family man.
Yeah, you know it.
Right? And if you guys want to reach me or you want to have any guests, special guests that you know of come on the show, you can hit me at thebtstho@gmail.com. That's thebtstho@gmail.com. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope to hear and see from Mr. Evan again.
Yes, sir, most definitely.
All right, folks, peace.